Welcome back to our EMC Weekly Agent Power Hour. Uh, these were formerly known as our Monday Masterminds. We've, since switched to Thursdays. It's been about 2 months. We're glad that the schedule seems to be working for people. Thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about Google Local Services today with Ed Laine. I'm just curious, show of hands and in the chat, who has heard of Google Local Services? Okay, Kim. Maybe this is new for some people. All right, cool. This is exciting. There's a lot to learn on this topic. So, before we get into that, I'm Colby, joined as always by my mom and my brother Dylan here on this call and some of our Every Move Collective family. We run a bi-coastal top producing team out of Westchester, New York, Connecticut, Los Angeles. We also run the Every Move Collective organization at eXp Realty, which produces these weekly calls each Thursday. Any agent, regardless of company or experience level, is always welcome here. So please tell a friend. It's an open door policy. Before we dive in, for those of you who don't have your cameras on, if you're able to turn your cameras on, we would really appreciate it. We're living in this increasingly Zoom forward culture, and it's nice to kind of feel somewhat like we're in a room together. And if you can drop your location in the chat, we're always encouraging referrals, and you never know who here might need to know where you're located. So if you can take a moment to just chime your city in the chat, who knows, it could lead to a piece of business or just a great referral relationship to last the years. So we are typically on these calls partnering with our friends Tony and Jake at Apex Agent. They were unable to make it today, so we asked our friend Danielle to hop in and share a little bit on our weekly marketing and AI segment. She's going to share with you a bit about a marketing, tool that you can use in your business, and then in about 10 minutes, we'll dive into Ed's 50-minute presentation. So if Danielle, you want to come off mute, and feel free to share your
Sure,
screen. Excited to have you on. Thank you for saying yes to this last minute. We appreciate you.
you're welcome anytime. All right, so share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, what I do is I work with all sorts of entrepreneurs, a lot of realtors, to help them to figure out who they are and how to differentiate yourself. And one of those things is building your Instagram, so that when people go to Instagram, they get a feel for not just your company, but also for who you are, and what are the types of things that you want to sell. So I actually had met with Eva for dinner the other night, and I was talking about that with her, and I'm like, here, let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So we took some pictures, and the first picture we took was of this martini. And she said, well, what can you do with that? And so I said, well, here's what I would do. I would use it in my Instagram. And so I wanted to show you I wanted to show you how you can do those types of things. Sorry, I don't know why everything else is coming up on my screen except what I need.
Never apologize for showing us your dog.
But we
The
will
last time that I was doing this, I was doing
get
a
there.
little teaching people an AI tool. Like I outed myself, 20 photos of my cat in my camera reel on screen
Okay,
share.
so here's what I did. So I said what you could do is you could do a theme on food. So it's Friday food. So on Fridays, maybe you're introducing local restaurants that you think are fun and where people should go so that they know that you're someone who really knows your neighborhood. And then do some fun kind of post around it. So what you can do in chat, I like chat because chat's really good with images, is I took my pictures, I uploaded my pictures, and I put in a prompt. And this prompt says, I'm working with a realtor, and she wants to turn these ordinary pictures into really cute, compelling ads for her Instagram as a series focusing on real estate. But we want to use food as sort of like the theme. I want them to look very photorealistic, like they're from a Vogue magazine shoot. I added an example. I want you to do one at a time so it looks like a cover shoot. So you're going to really talk to it like exactly how you want it. So here's the first one. I literally took this 5 minutes before we were supposed to get on the call, of just a plate of cookies. And this is what it made. It says sweet spaces. Find a home that feels like home. Real estate expertise you can count on. Let's find your perfect fit. Now, you can then go back in and say, "Oh, I don't really like that," or "I really want you to put my logo." Upload your logo, say I'd rather you say something more like this, and just play around with it, and it'll come up with other things. Um, Here's another picture we took right at the bar, and it came up with this: raise your standard. Exceptional homes, extraordinary experiences, always. Curated properties, personalized service, lasting value. So it's very fast. And, if you're somebody who doesn't have time to do a lot of content, this is a really good way to just get like, I did like 5 or 6 of these in probably 7 minutes. And so you could have, a whole week's worth of content. Here's another one. This was Eva's idea. She's like, compare the two. The espresso martini it was like a vodka martini, right? Different tastes, same excellence. Both are great, just different. And it's like, talks about, you might want this kind of home or that kind of home. And you might say, put more stuff in there that talks about the difference in a home or something like that. You play around with your prompt. Here's
Hmm.
one that I did not like this one at all. And so I went back and said, no, not in a bar, something totally different, edgy, fun, like you might see in Rolling Stone magazine. Maybe you're out in LA and you're selling to like a surfer person and they really want something just cool and kind of like different, Venice Beach vibe. And so you're going to do something totally different. You're not going to do a martini thing. You're going to do something more like this. Or you're up in Westchester, right? And you want something
Yep.
that looks a little bit more like a Martha Stewart living magazine. This says meet the neighborhood, personalities, same great taste, completely different vibes. The classic, the wellness guru, the life of the party. Um, and so there you go. It's so easy. It's a really easy way to use AI. It's really fun. I have to warn you though, it will become addictive because once you start seeing what it can do, you're just like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of this. I'm going to take a picture of that. I want to try that. It's really, really fun. And it makes marketing a lot easier. So that's just my little tip for today.
Thank you.
Thank
Super
you.
fun. If you
Danielle,
wouldn't,
I'm
go
sorry, can
ahead.
I say one thing? Because you didn't mention when we were there, you told me to take my picture upside down.
Oh yeah, yeah. So here's a tip: if you're gonna take a picture of like a drink or mostly a drink, if your phone's the normal way, it'll just be like a normal But the way we got that sort of like cool view of that martini was literally turning the phone upside down like this, angling it a little bit, and then we took the picture, and that's how it looked like we were kind of like looking up at the glass. So that's like a really good tip. That also works. Like, I mean, go to the Washington Monument. It works there too. Really cool. It's a little cool like tip. Just flipping your phone upside down. It looks really great when you're taking a picture of a latte. Like, it's just a little cool, easy thing. Just turning it right upside down. So yeah,
It's
I'm glad you
also if you're
mentioned that.
taking a picture of a townhome.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Danielle. If you wouldn't mind dropping the prompt in the chat, Caesar was asking if you could share the prompt.
Oh,
And in
yeah.
the
Let me grab
meantime,
that.
thank you. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Ed and Danielle. I'm just gonna put you on mute because your speaker's just a little funky.
Sorry. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
have to drop off, but thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
for popping in. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
So without further ado, excited to introduce Ed. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Ed over the past several years. He is an incredible leader in his market in Seattle. He's an organization that spans across the United States and maybe beyond. And he's been in this business for 40 years. Not only has he closed one close to, I think, 1 billion in home volume, but also 1 billion in loan volume. So he is well versed in both sides of that part of the business. And he's here to share with us about Google Local Services, which is an increasingly popular tool as a paid lead source for agents. And so I'm really excited to learn about this topic from him. And I'm just going to hand over the mic to you and let you teach us your ways.
Cool. Well, thank you, Colby. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you allowing me to join your group and say hi to everybody. Thank you all for taking a little time. I know it's getting busier out there in a good way, so hopefully I can reinvest in you some knowledge that'll help you grow even faster. So, just a show of hands on your screen, how many of you have used Google LSA or local service ads? Only a couple, so that's good. This hopefully will be a huge benefit because we're going to cover it in not only how to set it up, but also how to leverage it and maximize it. Because I'll take my own thunder. I I'm going to share a tip with you at the end where once I did it, I generated 8 leads and had 7 signed listing agreements in 24 hours once I did that. So I'll tell you guys exactly what I did so you can do it as well. So with that, let me do this and this. So, as Colby shared, I started in the biz in 1987, so I was only 2 years old at the time. But I've sold over 3,000 homes, over 5,000 mortgages. So I've seen and done it all. And I'm a big believer in lead generation. If you aren't mastering your sphere of influence, or if you're new to a market, lead gen is a way to grow your sphere of influence in that new market. So we're going to cover what LSA ads are, how to set up your account and get verified, as well as how to handle those leads and even kick around some scripting that I use that's been very effective. And then I'll share the how I got 8 leads in 24 hours and signed 7 of them. So, what are local service ads? Well, you've all heard of PPC and pay per click and the old version of Google Ads. This is the new generation. It's been around for over a year and it's very effective. And these are bottom of the funnel leads. If you guys all know that pipeline funnel analogy, what spits out at the bottom is money, right? So when these leads come in, they're very serious. And the coolest thing, in my opinion, is they're live transfer phone calls. And when that phone rings, there's a chime at the beginning that tells you it's a Google LSA lead. So your brain automatically switches over to, okay, I'm on, right? And how many of you have heard of the MIT study about converting online leads? Has anyone heard of that? I'll stop sharing so I can see you guys. Just real quickly, MIT did a study on how fast do you have to respond to internet leads in order to maximize the opportunity to convert them to a customer. And what they found was the answer was 5 minutes. In fact, the study went on to say that if you took just 30 minutes to call back, you were 21 times less likely to convert that lead to a customer. So a live transfer phone call that you answer takes that from 5 minutes down to 0 seconds, right? So your opportunity goes up dramatically because of this method. And just remember that bit from MIT for your other lead sources. It doesn't matter if it's a sign call or a Facebook ad or whatever. Respond in 5 minutes if you want to increase the chances. And the basic reason is the average consumer hits 20 more websites in those 5 minutes, right? So when you call, they're not even going to remember what site they hit. And you don't really care because now you're talking to them, right? So the cool thing also is you pay per lead, not per click. They actually have an AI tool that listens to the recording of the conversation and it decides whether to charge you or not. And by the way, the charge is around 75 bucks a call. So is that worth a bottom of the funnel seller lead? Absolutely. You know, I've generated tens of thousands of leads. My average buyer lead is between $4 and $5. My average seller lead used to be around $100, but it's gone down since I implemented this plan. And I don't care. Like the $100 is a no-brainer if I convert those at a high level, which I do. Plus, I'm in Seattle. I don't know if you guys know this. Our median is $1 million. So a listing in Seattle is worth 25 to 30 grand to us. So anyway, uh, assess your market, generate leads in your market, and get good at converting them. It won't matter if your median is a million or 500,000 or somewhere in between. You can also get Google verified through this process, which increases your credibility in the market. When the consumer sees that, you immediately have more credibility in their mind, right? I mean, I get calls where they're like, it's almost embarrassing. They're so flattering. They're like, "Oh, I was reading about you. You're amazing." I'm like, "Well, don't believe what you read." No, I'm kidding. I don't say that. I say thank you. Right? So LSA leads are not passive browsers. That's the big difference between internet leads and LSA leads. These are leads where they literally said, "My parent died. I need to sell a house in X city. Who should I call?" And then I show up because I cover that city. Does that make sense? So compared to social media ads, those are interruption based, right? They see an ad on a Facebook feed or some other social feed. They might take action. If they do, they're not very committed. Zillow leads, I run a Zillow Flex team within my organization. Those are good leads. There's also a 40% referral tied to them, right? And that also can be a browser rather than somebody who's serious about buying. With LSA leads, they're search triggered and high intent, and they called. Think about the average consumer, how much we don't like making calls. I mean, we're realtors, so we don't mind it at all, but the average consumer would rather text, right? But through Google, they're making a phone call, so they're serious intent. The credibility relies heavily on the verification process. So let's talk about how you do that. First
Hey,
thing,
Ed,
yeah,
just before we keep going, I would you mind just showing everyone what the Google LSA ads like look like when you go to Google?
uh, I don't really see them that way. I can
What
show
do you
you
mean?
my portal. I
Yeah,
get
no, I
full,
just mean like if we were to like Google, like do people know like where this is populating on Google? I guess is my question.
yeah. So if you go to Google and you type uh, homes for sale in LA, is that where you are?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, perfect.
Realtor Redfin. So
Or you're gonna
they'll,
want if you click the or maybe real estate agents in Los Angeles is the better search, really.
yeah, and no typo.
While you're doing that, Ed, I was just going to say you can always tell no matter what you're searching for, at the top returns will say sponsored. That's a LSA. I do it for my
Right.
contracting,
There
and
it is.
Right.
they're always the sponsored ones. So, and people click that all the time, not knowing. I appear number one as organic. And now that I'm doing LLSAs, it seems like I'm paying for all my leads that I used to get for free because people just click on the first one that says sponsored. Now I have to pay for it.
That's the other cool thing about the LSA program is it'll tell you what percentage of the time are you appearing in the top three and what percentage of the time are you number one. And my percentages are in the 90s in the top three and in the high 60s at number one. So that's because Google wants to promote the people that are paying them for those leads, right? So
Thank you.
what to set this up, you need a Google My Business page, right? So you want to have a Google account. If you don't currently have one, they're free. Go ahead and open them up. Set up your Google business profile. Explain in your profile what firm you're with. And they also ask for photos of your firm, like the office. If you're with EXP like I am, I work out of my house. So I provide photos of a Regis location where my license hangs. That way my name, address, phone, or NAP, as we call it, matches everything everywhere. And I got validated that way. So does that make sense to everybody? You're going to include your real estate license info, business address, background, identity, etc. They put you through a bit of a process. It took me almost 2 weeks to get everything set up and approved. I have had people on my team that have set it up and they had to appeal the photo part of the business because Google said, wait, that's a Regis, right? Um, but it's the license that hangs on, or the address that's on your license. So, yeah, Medardo, you can use your EXP address. Like I'm in Washington. So, our designated broker for the entire state, all the licenses hang under one address in Seattle, and that is a Regis location. Your business name, address, and phone must be consistent across the profile. That's where people run into hiccups when they have a different phone number somewhere or a different address in their main retail Google profile. Make them all match. That'll help you get approved more easily. Then once you've got your business account set up, go to ads.google.com/local service ads, local hyphen services hyphen ads. And that's where you will walk through the wizard to get this set up. Choose a category. You're going to pick real estate. You also, by the way, can tell it, I want buyers and sellers, or I only want sellers. Renters is one of the options. You can deselect that. And when the AI listens to your recordings, it's going to recognize, oh, that was a renter. And they're not going to charge you for that because you opted out of those. Another thing that you'll get where they won't charge you is solicitations, right? Like moving companies will Google realtors in a certain city. If they find one of your ads and call you, you won't get billed for that. And if anything does get billed that you don't agree with, there is an appeal process and they'll reverse it. You can say this I had one where it was a lead, but it wasn't in my market. And the AI didn't pick up on that. So I appealed it and then they did reduced or took it off my bill. During setup, you'll complete business name, phone number, website, business hours. I say 24 hours. You should do the same, right? Service areas, job types, license verification, background identity verification if required, and billing. Take your time on each field because the more detail you give, the more easily you are verified. Your LSA profile, excuse me, is your first impression. So fill it with credible information that makes you sound better and differentiated from the marketplace, right? The consumer, the average consumer thinks we're all the same. And as you guys know, that couldn't be further from the truth, right? There's great brokers, there's terrible brokers. So you also, as you build out your Google profile, you can do Q&A. You want to have a method and a system for posting regularly. We can talk about that maybe in another training on how to do that using AI. But you want to make sure that there's always current information in your profile, including high quality photos, not only of you, but of your listings, right? Expertise and experience. Obviously, you guys are all rock stars. Reviews. So have a methodology for gathering reviews with every closing with third-party vendors in the industry. Everyone thinks that reviews can only come from buyers and sellers. That's not true. They can come from escrow officers that think you're a rock star, or inspectors that appreciate your business, or other agents that think you're an amazing referral resource for them in Seattle. Plug, 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 right? So don't be shy about that. And also don't feel like you have to have 400 of them. If you look me up, I think I only have like 45 or 50 now. And when I first set this up, I only had 20 or so. How sad is that? I've sold over 3,000 homes and I only have 20 Google reviews. But the fact of the matter is, they want current Google reviews and consistency. So I send out 5 emails a week and I pick up one or two reviews and I do that every week. So there's a consistency to it. Right. And remember, the ad gets you seen, the profile gets you trusted, and the phone call gets you hired. Start local. Like it allows you to choose by county, city, whatever area you want to dominate, even down to zip codes. Here's the thing though. This has been around for over a year. You're not going to be the only one in Los Angeles or in Westchester or wherever doing this, right? So like when I first set mine up, I did King County as the name of the county that Seattle is sitting in, and I got a couple leads and that was it. And that's what caused me to make the change I'm going to share at the end, and it blew open for me, right? But what I would do if I'm you, if you're setting this up, start tight. You don't want a flood of leads right out of the gates if you haven't built your systems to handle them and respond to them. So pressure test your process before you expand. Does that make sense to everybody? If you have an inside sales team, great, then you can expand right away. But if you're doing it on your own, start slow, okay? Start with a test budget. So at 75 bucks a lead, tell the system that you'll take up to 500 bucks a week. Or maybe it's 250, maybe it's less. It's your budget, right? But the algorithm is going to see how committed and serious are you. So set a budget, and here's the best part. You can turn it on or off anytime. So if I set it for 500 and I got 3 leads in the first day, I can turn it off. And now I'm at $225, and maybe I want to work through those leads before I spend the other 275 or whatever it is, right? But the algorithm is going to interpret your intent based on how you set this up. And then have a 30-day test window. Make sure you respond quickly or answer, right? I know you guys are all busy. If a call comes in and you're not able to answer it, try and call it back within 5 minutes. You will find that some leads prefer text. Those don't convert as at high a level as the phone calls. I mean, think about it, right? We all are way better in person. We all are way better voice to voice than we are text. So that should be your goal, your aspiration is to talk to everybody. And if you do, you will have tremendous success, right? And don't judge a campaign on one lead, judge it on batches, because then you can start to go, okay, how responsive was I? How serious were those leads? What did I say that worked? What did I say that didn't work? Let me triage my script and get better at it, right? We should all aspire to improving every day with every lead. And this is an opportunity to do that, right? Calls versus messages, I kind of touched on that. The text messages aren't as effective. Doesn't mean I don't respond to them. And what I'm doing is I'm driving them to a phone call when I reach them over text. People prefer text because there's no urgency, no deadline. They can read your response later. They can respond right away if they liked what you said, right? Whatever. So be professional and polished, but encouraging on how much more effective if we could get a chance to speak by phone, I can crush this for you, right? Check your inbox every day because they do send you an email, but sometimes they get spam blocked. So just build the habit of going in there every morning and making sure you've spoken to everybody that came in, right? 5-minute rule we already touched on. So here's the script or the framework for the calls. Open with identity and context. Hey, this is Ed Laine. I saw you reached out through Google. Got to move you guys out of the way. About real estate help. Are you thinking about buying or selling or just trying to understand your options? No pressure. Just trying to flesh out what their intentions are, right? That also gives them the out that if they don't want pressure, they can say, "Oh, we're just looking," right? Qualify immediately. Property address, owner or buyer, timeline, motivation, condition, mortgage situation, already listed, desired outcome. I mentioned at the beginning that I'm a licensed loan officer. Guess what? You guys all could be too. Did you know that they've created a new program called REMLO, Real Estate Mortgage Loan Originator, and you don't have to do the CE, you don't even have to take a test. You can get licensed through a federally chartered bank and be immediately licensed in all 50 states. And you don't have to be an expert on mortgages because they assign somebody to you. And that creates another revenue stream for you. So if you'd like to learn how to do that, I'll put my email in at the end, but send me an email. I'll connect you and you can explore it. But I get mortgage revenue on all my buyer deals. I get mortgage revenue on refis. Like that's how easy it is. And then with the lead, you're always moving towards an appointment. It can still be over the phone, but if they're in your area, face to face is way more effective, way more higher converting. Okay. Here's the bonus strategy. Once you've got your systems down and you're starting to convert and you're feeling confident in them, actually expand the area. When I went from King County to all of Washington State, that's how I got 8 leads in 24 hours. And am I going to serve somebody in Spokane? If any of you know the geography, the answer is no. It's a 5 hour drive away. But do I have EXP friends in Spokane? Absolutely. So I got 8 leads. And in our state, let me stop sharing just so I can look at you guys. You all are in various states. You all have new rules that were an outcome of the NAR settlement, right? Some states, like my state, it's a new law. In other states, it could be an MLS rule. Whatever it is, you are now compelled to behave a little bit differently, right? Here's what I say for here in Washington, and I know some of you are in Washington, so lock this down. Hey, seller, I don't know if you've realized, but out of the NAR class action lawsuit, a new law came into effect here in Washington. It's called Senate Bill 5191. I identify it by number specifically because that raises my credibility, right? They've never heard of it, but when I cite it by name, they're like, oh, he knows his shit, right? I go, here's what it says. It says that I can't provide brokerage services to you without you first hiring me. And what that means is a listing agreement. Now, I know that we're only just meeting right now for the first time, and that could be a little off-putting. So here's what I do. I'm going to give you a cancellation agreement at the same time so that you know if you don't like my advice or what I say, you can fire me. Does that make sense? And they go, yeah. And I go, I can send it to you right now for signing, or I can send it to you as a PDF so you can look it over. Have you guys ever noticed the average consumer, when they get a DocuSign or something like that, they don't realize they're allowed to read it before they sign it? So I let them know if you'd rather I send a PDF, I can do that. And in that example of 8 I just gave you, 7 of them said, makes perfect sense, send it. And the 8th said, can you send me the PDF so I can look it over first? Sure. And I just have a templated email that says, here's the forms we talked about. Look them over. If you have any questions, let's jump on a phone call. If everything looks okay to you, just let me know and I'll send it to you for signing. So I actually did sign that 8th one. I just didn't do it in the first 24 hours. Does that make sense to everybody? So how many of you, like I'll talk to Colby because I know where she's sitting. Would you be open to saying, I cover all of California and generating a lead in Humboldt County and then handing that lead to somebody for a referral fee.
In fact, because I'm also licensed in New York and it's where my mom runs her team, that's what we did. We
Perfect.
covered the whole state with Google LSA and we did successfully send leads upstate.
And let me share with you guys what I get for a referral fee. Obviously, it's yours to negotiate, but I get a full 50% referral fee on seller leads because what I'm giving you is not a lead. It's a signed listing agreement with your name on it because I'll get it signed with my name and then I'll add your name and send it to you. And now you're the boots on the ground. And when I talk to the consumer about it, I say, Colby's going to help you in the area the most, but you get both of us. Isn't that cool? And they go, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. So you're giving a much more valuable lead than just a lead, right? A lead is a name, phone number, and an address. This is a signed listing agreement with your name on it. So you could probably get even more. I don't, but I've gotten 50%, 100% of the time when I've reached out. Sorry, 99. I had one gal that said, "Oh, that's too rich for me." Okay. Called another person and got it from someone else. So the vast majority of people are cool with that. And if they're smart, you're going to be able to coach them on, hey, turn this deal into two or three more referrals for yourself. And you don't have to pay me on those. I'm just rooting for you to crush it. Do a great job and they will refer you people. Diego, you got your hand up.
Yeah, hey Ed. Would you be doing kind of like the same thing for buyers as well, pretty much, I'm assuming? Just if like because obviously I'm also like can kind of do some Amish if they were to do Spokane or I don't know if they go all the way down to Tacoma or further down. Would you just do it like as a referral as well for them as well there?
Yeah, I think with buyers, not I think, I actually charge a little bit less for buyers because I know they're more work, right?
Mm.
You might have to show 20 houses before you find something. It could be faster, but I know it represents more work to the person I'm referring it to. So I tend to take 35% on buyers and 50% on sellers.
Thank you.
The other thing you'll find, and I've had a lot of these, out of area land deals. Well, I don't even have to refer that because I don't have to hang a key box or meet anybody or look at the house or shoot photos or anything. But what I am going to need is a sign. So then I'll call an agent in the area and say, would you put one of your signs in front of this piece of land and you can have all the leads that come off of it? And they're like, hell yeah. I don't pay them anything. They're just helping me get it sold by putting a sign in the yard. Does that make sense? If it's a house, then I definitely got to get somebody involved, give them half of the commission and go from there. But you'll find, I mean, I even got a lead on this is kind of funny. Oyster beds. Do you guys anyone have experience with oyster beds? Yeah, neither did I, Anna. I was like, oh yeah, we do that, no problem. And then I started calling agents in the area. What the hell do you do with these? But a leasehold interest in an oyster bed is something that someone pays money to get and can sell. So I helped this guy sell the lease to his oyster beds. And that was another uh, case where I didn't need another agent to help me because it's offshore, right? It's out in the water. You'll get some interesting
That's
deals.
so Seattle.
I know the craziest thing is it wasn't even up here. It was down like Ocean Shores, which is sort of further down the coast. But yeah, you're right. We're a big maritime community. Qualify and route, right? So answer every call, bond with the consumer, speak with confidence, and then determine in that call, am I going to partner with somebody? And it's okay to say, before I get off the phone with you, you're going to actually get two of us for the price of one because I'm going to have someone local that's going to meet with you at the property. Are you okay with that? And they'll say, yeah, who? And I'll actually punt and go, you know what? I've got a few people in the area, so I want to talk to them first and make sure they've got the time and the bandwidth to do a great job for you. And between you and me, I have no idea who I have in the area yet because I haven't started calling. But I don't have a problem saying that with somebody because I do want to vet the people that I refer, right? And then I'll connect you with Susan, whomever in Ocean Shores. Scott, you got your hand up.
Oh, just to expand on what you were saying about the expanding, I did the same thing. Obviously, I'm on Ed's team, so we started local, and I used King, Pierce, and Snohomish, which are three counties right in a row in the largest area of the Puget Sound. And I wasn't getting a whole lot. I expanded it to the state like Ed did, and I got about the same amount of calls in the first 24 hours. They were just coming in everywhere. And at this moment, I have a closing in Ocean Shores that I took myself because I didn't want to refer it because this lady actually had a house picked out. We didn't buy that house, but we found a few others, and I went down to Ocean Shores, which is a 3 hour drive. But I'm closing June 11th on a $420,000 new construction. I thought I was worth a few hours of driving, but I have five or maybe six referrals out right now to other agents in EXP and one that's not EXP, but she's already closed a referral for me before. So it works. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I got an email yesterday asking for my commission disbursement on it relating to an address, and I didn't recognize the address at all. I had to go back through my notes, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm getting half of that. I forgot about that one. So it's a first world problem. Here's the cool thing, though, for all of you, and this is based on what Scott just shared. If you don't have the time to drive 3 hours, that's there's nothing wrong with that. Hand it off. You're just going to give up half of the commission or some percentage of the commission. If your pipeline isn't as full as you'd like and you do have the time, then don't hand it off and keep all the commission, right? Diego, you got a question.
Yeah, so so did you get like 8 calls in that 24 hours, or was it like more calls that you got in that day?
Oh, I've gotten hundreds of calls now that I've been doing it. So
Okay, gotcha.
I got 8 calls in one day and converted all of them. 7 of them convert them in the same day. Like you guys would be amazed if you follow this advice. You'll have a call with somebody you've never met, and within 15 minutes, you'll be able to send them a listing agreement that they will sign. And if Colby, if you want me to send you my cancellation agreement, because that really is the trick that unlocks somebody's apprehension about signing, is knowing that they could fire me. You know how many times I've been fired in 30 years, 40 years? None. People don't fire you. I had a conversation yesterday in a $9 million listing, and the seller said, when I sign an agreement, I don't care about your cancellation agreement. I'm not going to enter the agreement unless I believe in you and trust you, period. So my cancellation agreement didn't really have an effect on him, but we still got the deal. So, in the end, the cancellation agreement will help people feel better. The best way I can, so this is the handoff script. The best way I can serve you is to connect you with a strong local partner who knows that market deeply. I'll stay involved in the handoff to make sure you're taken care of. And you can end it with you get 2 for 1, right? The best thing about this. Then use actual written agreements, right? EXP makes it easy. So here's a little tip or trick for you. I'm assuming everybody on this call is with EXP.
No.
No? So then I'll explain it both ways. If you're with EXP, EXP gives us a referral portal. And the referral portal allows me to type in a city or even a country, and it'll pull up who serves that area, and I can pick one. I can call them and vet them. I can do whatever I want. And then it'll send a referral agreement to all parties without disclosing the name and number of the seller until everybody's signed. So they make it super easy. I was recruiting a guy out in New York, and he just off the cuff said, do you know any realtors in Israel? And I said, not personally, but I can pull up this platform and show you. And I gave him 20 referrals that cover Tel Aviv because his daughter and her fiance had just moved to Israel. And it took 2 minutes. Like it's crazy how easy it is. Now, if you're not with EXP, search the MLS or search Zillow if it's outside of your MLS. Who is selling houses in that area? And those are listing brokers that you can call. I have one right now that's in the Okanagan, which is another 5 hour drive from here. And there weren't any EXP agents in that area. So I called. It's funny, I did that search I just described. The first four of them, their office address were this side of the mountains. The fifth guy's office address was in the Okanagan. So I called him and he's like, yeah, I'll do it for you. And I said, for 50%? He said, yeah. So then I sent him a second one. So he's got two of them with me. That's how we can start to build partnerships outside of the company. And who knows, maybe at some point he likes this income stream and he wants to make it permanent. He can switch over to EXP. So you can use it as a recruiting tool as well. All right. Yeah, Melanie, I'll send that to Colby so she can share it out to everybody.
Also, we have
Um,
Leah with a hand raised.
okay. Sorry, Leah, go ahead. She
Yeah, I
didn't.
was just going to mention that, if you get a buyer client, can't we also just pay different agents to show the property, but
Oh,
still close on the property? So, you
absolutely.
yeah, close
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of showing agent, uh, you know, processes because here's the wrinkle for a showing agent. If Leah's in a part of the country or a part of the state that I don't serve, I can call her and say, "Would you open this door for $20 or $50 or whatever we negotiate?" But then when she does it, I have to pay that money to her firm. And then legally it has to run through her split. And a lot of agents don't do that. They just Venmo you, right? And that's illegal in most states. So I'm only bringing this up because that's the reason I haven't done a lot of that. I don't mind Venmoing somebody, but I also don't need to run afoul of the law for silly reasons. Um, but in some states, it's probably okay. Uh, Bottom line, it's not magic, it's gasoline, right? You can you can pour it on a weakness and you'll burn money. Or you can build a system so that weakness becomes a strength, right? I have two boys, sons in their 20s, and I always told them if you turn every weakness you have into a strength,
Mhm.
whether it's in sports or life or anywhere, you'll be unstoppable. So here's the final trick, and then we can end here or open it up for Q&A. Anyone want to guess what my budget was when I opened it up to the entire state?
250. Never mind.
$10,000 a week. If that scares you, I never, not once, have spent even $2,000. I have spent over 1,000 though, because I pulled in 20 something leads in a week. So, but the point I'm making is if you get serious about this and you open it up to the entire state, set your budget at 10 grand because that tells the algorithm, hey, this guy's serious or this gal is serious. Let's start moving leads to them and be ready for your phone to blow up, like Scott said, right? So it's a really effective tool. These are bottom of the funnel leads. That means they convert at a very high level and it's easy enough for you to set up, but it'll take a week or two to kind of get through that process.
Yeah,
So,
just to support that statement, we also did that when we did this in New York. We set our budget to like 4,000 a week just to trigger the algorithm to prioritize us as the agent that they should send the lead to. And I don't think we ever spent more than like 1,500 or 2,000 a month,
yeah.
honestly. One of the things that we struggled with in our market, and you might need to test this out in your market, was even though our Google business profile did not say that we were handling rentals, we would get calls from renters all the time because we're near an area where renting is popular. And so what one of the cool things was that we did not get charged for them. So we, as long as we kept the call under a certain amount of time, and told them that we didn't serve rentals, uh, Google just used their AI tool to listen to the conversation, heard that we communicated with the client that we don't serve rentals, and and then just didn't charge us. So like it's very much pay for call over a certain amount of time that like really converts. The purpose is for you to be paying for calls that convert. If like someone just, we've gotten calls from people who are like, I'm looking for like someone to plumb our house. We're like, wrong number, buddy. We don't get charged for that.
Yeah.
So, and Google does that kind of automatically.
If I could jump in here, Cole, though, one of the challenges I think with that was I think the time was like 30 seconds. You had to
Mhm.
be off of that call within 30 seconds to say that, no, we don't service
For it to
rentals.
be automatic.
Right.
It needed to be
Right,
under 30 seconds for it to be an automatically like reviewed lead that Google didn't
right.
charge. If it went over 30 seconds and it was still something that wasn't within our wheelhouse, we could appeal it and they would just give us the money back. So but yeah, when you really do turn that faucet on with a $10,000, $4,000 budget, it's a lot to keep up with. So you got to make sure you have a system in place to keep up with it.
And
Yeah.
I will speak to Allie's comment in the chat because she said every time I turn LSA on, I get spam calls. We get spam calls as well, but it is a small percentage and you can nip them in the bud pretty quickly and they don't cost you anything. And like Colby pointed out, even if it's a long talker, so I can't get off in 30 seconds, I can still click a button to appeal it and just type not a lead. He's a HVAC repairman or whatever. And then they'll put the 75 bucks back in my account or take it off the bill. So don't let the spam call part of it disappoint you. It
Ed,
yeah,
can I ask a question on that?
sure.
Um, we, uh, and maybe it's just the way it is, but we got more leads outside of our immediate area than we did in our immediate area. And are there ways to kind of um, do better with that?
Yeah, it's not supposed to bring you a lead outside of the designated area that you've mapped. So if you
We just
say
weren't getting a lot of leads in Westchester, our county, and when we expanded to include the whole state, we got much more volume. So
that's
it was
to
just
be
like our
expected.
county didn't seem to bring in as much on Google Local Services as the rest of the state.
That's to be expected for sure. And it's because of the competition more than it is the budget or the plan, right?
Right.
In King County, where I'm sitting, there's lots of people that do Google LSA, and it's only going to grow. But I switched to statewide over 6 months ago, and I've been blowing it open with referrals. And think about it, like the average referral is probably it's not 25 or 30 grand total, right? Because it's going to be outside of King County, but it could be 8 or 10 grand and I'm going to get 4 or 5. And that pays for the 75 bucks many times over, right? The key, though, is just having a methodology and a system for the efficient handoff of that stuff. And what'll happen over time is you'll start to have a go-to person. Like I know Scott has
Mhm.
spent a lot of time on the phone building rapport with agents in other parts of the state. And now when he gets a lead in that area, he calls her automatically. He doesn't have to search or whatever, right? And I've done the same thing. So you know, that's why I said in the presentation, start tight, build your systems out, and then expand so that you don't get inundated and now you're scrambling because you don't have a system for the handoffs. Diego, you got your hand up.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm putting up my hand up a lot.
That's all right,
Uh,
man. That's why I'm here.
Uh, Part of the question that I had with that, so with the payment, you said that sometimes you pay 1,000, a week. Would that be automatically to your card, or how would that work? Or do you have to tell them, hey, this was a proper lead, it did go through, we are working together, and then you pay for that?
Great question, and I didn't really spend enough time on it, so I'm glad you asked. It's done automatically. You'll have a credit card on file that they will charge every month, and the algorithm that's listening to your recordings is deciding is this a real lead or not. And you can go into your dashboard and you'll see not charged, charged, not charged, charged. This is why you still want to check every day, though, because if there is one that you took yesterday that was an HVAC repair guy, and then you jump in your dashboard and you see it was charged, that's when you want to click on the appeal button and it'll get reversed. And I've probably appealed in a year less than 100, but it happens, tens of times, and I've never had an appeal rejected. So usually the algorithm is pretty good at identifying, but if it doesn't, you just have to draw their attention to it. Then they'll have a human listen to it and they'll go, "Oh yeah, you're right, HVAC."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So have a credit card that's got some bandwidth on it.
Can I
Anna,
clarify something on that, Ed?
sure.
I think, at least for me, it doesn't say appeal. So if you're looking for an appeal button, it says rate this lead. You click on rate the lead and tell you satisfied all the way down to dissatisfied. And if you hit click dissatisfied, and tell me if I'm wrong, Ed, because that's all I see is rate this lead to give me that appeal thing. But sometimes they appeal it like immediately. They just believe you and it's not charged. But
Yeah.
How
No, you
long are
can.
your calls usually with the lead?
How long are the calls?
Yeah. Would you?
If it's an actual lead, 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Not really that long, especially when you consider in 15 minutes I can get somebody comfortable enough to sign a listing agreement. That's fast, right? If it's a BS deal like Scott's. The other thing, back to Scott's comment, is I'm getting most of these while I'm sitting here at my computer. So if I get off the phone and it's an HVAC guy, I'll go straight into my portal and look. And it might say evaluating, but I can still say, dissatisfied, this was a vendor, not a lead. Anna, did you want me to share my last slide again?
Yes, but I also have a question
All right, I'll do that while you're asking your question.
because I want to take a picture of the slide. So
All
there you
right.
go. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
So my question is, I am in Houston, which is a super big city, right?
it's
And
huge.
it's huge. So you can maybe refer people within the city.
Yeah.
But my question is more referred to my business profile. I already have my business profile. And I
Yeah.
am in a side of the city that's Hockley, which is northwest. It's a very small little suburb. So if I have my profile already set up with Hockley instead of Houston, right? Do I have to make any changes, or how do you recommend that we set up the LSA account so we actually get leads from all over the city? I don't want to, it would be very limited if they only send me those to that specific side of town.
Um, I don't know if you noticed, I just whistled. Someone rang my doorbell, my dog started baying, and I didn't want that to get picked up on the audio. Um, can you narrow it down by zip code? Like, are you able to cover an entire zip code?
Yes, and I can, I have like 4 or 5 zip codes that I really like working at.
Yeah, because I know Houston is huge. I actually used to run a mortgage company had a Houston office, and I would go there once a month. I probably would start there. There is a polygon like map drawing thing tool that you can
Mm-hmm.
use. So you could go that route if you want. And Ava mentioned earlier that sometimes they get stuff outside of their area. That doesn't happen very often. It can. So I don't want you to think it's never, but if you can make it as narrow a criteria as you want. The downside though, Anna, is you're going to get less leads. right?
Well, that's exactly my concern. It's the opposite. Like my Google profile, it's already set up for Hockley.
Okay.
So is that going to dominate the LSA if I set up the whole Houston area?
No, so the LSA account and your Google My Business page aren't reflective or affecting each other.
Okay.
So you can have your LSA account set up to generate referral leads like we've been talking about,
Mm-hmm.
or you can choke it down. That's the other thing. This is all adjustable on the fly. So you can turn it off. You can change the footprint of how big you want or how small you want. So you have that flexibility within your LSA account, and your Google My Business page isn't going to change that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Leah.
Yes, me again. I wanted to find out if you're taking listings also, if you are what you're doing with the sales price, if it's just over the phone that you're getting the agreement signed.
Yeah, I mean, I list a lot of homes, and I've listed homes without ever setting foot in them. So if you're not comfortable with that, you don't have to do that. You can hand them off, but I'm totally comfortable with that. So
Well, you
I'll do
set
a
the price
CM,
on
yeah,
the first.
I'll do a market analysis on your property from my computer. We actually, if you guys go to YouTube and just look up Ed Laine, I have a YouTube channel that has a playlist called Agent Training, and there's a video on there called the Color Picture CMA Tour. That is a process that I use and my team uses to re-educate the seller to be realistic about the pricing of their home without them feeling like Ed's being negative. God damn it, I'm not hiring him because he thinks my house isn't worth $1 million or whatever, right? So we follow that process, and that teaches him that no, your house isn't worth $1 million because these houses aren't even selling for $1 million and they're superior to yours, right? Then they get realistic without me having to beat them up. So I'll use that process on someone who's further out, but
Mhm.
there's like a distance limit for me. And I should point out, I run a pretty large team. We have almost 100 people on my team that covers almost the entire state. And I shared this with Colby earlier. I actually broke my hip a month ago.
Thanks.
And I've been getting around on crutches for 5 weeks now. And I've been handing off my listings to agents to help me. Some of them are just hanging a key box, and I have a great culture on my team, so they're happy to do that for free. Others, like I do a lot of REO work, so I have other listings that are further out that I would have to visit every week to make sure squatters don't move in. And so on those, I'll share the commission with somebody if they'll take care of it for me and shoot those videos or photos. So back to Leah's question, it kind of depends on where it is, if I'll keep it or I'll hand it off to someone like Scott or Diego who's on this call because they're closer to it.
Okay,
And
I guess my question was kind of more around I'm used to for the listings to be able to go to the property to take a look at, what the condition actually is versus
yeah,
what they think it's worth, all that. So do you
yeah.
have them do like a video tour or something while you're on the phone or?
If it's out of area and I'm not going to see it firsthand, I'm
Mhm.
not going to be the boots on the ground.
Right.
I'll hand that off to you.
But if you are, then
Then I am going to go there.
okay, so do you wait to get the listing agreement signed until that point, or you have them sign up front and then kind
I
of
have
do?
them sign as early in the process as I can because our law literally says you can't provide brokerage services
Okay.
without being hired, and that
Okay.
includes doing the research on a CMA,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
So
Um,
you,
I also wanted to know just about in terms of getting the agreement signed with your, whether it's a buyer or seller. Do you have an early termination fee at all? We are having a lot of violations in Virginia, and so our broker has said do include an early termination fee. So I was just curious about that.
what are you calling a violation?
Well, they are very nitpicky, and with the recent changes, there's like been a lot of scrutiny. So
But
yeah.
who's they?
But are you
The
talking about
state?
violation costs or what?
No, no, you said we're having a lot of violations, so my broker is insisting on a termination fee. Did you
Um,
use the word violations and you actually meant people walking and firing you or people
yeah,
in?
yeah, they're two separate things, but
Okay.
basically, like, there's kind of been a lot of an uptick in legal action, and
Wow.
along with that is basically clients having problems with agents, even though we are doing what we're supposed to. So I guess more
So the answer
accusations.
to Leah's question is no, I don't charge a termination fee ever. I also don't get fired. And I
Right,
should
right.
point out, you know, the our Senate Bill 5191 only went into effect January of 2024. So we've only been doing this for a couple of years. I have been using buyer brokerage service agreements since 2007. So when they enacted that law in our state, it didn't affect us at all. We were
Mm.
already getting those agreements signed on day one, 100% of the time. And all the law did was give us one more reason why they needed to sign it. So all of you should remember price is only an issue in the absence of value. So deliver enough value and people will hire you. And
Okay.
there's videos
Also, in
on my
terms of
Hey,
your
channel.
Leah,
budget, oh, sorry,
we're
could I just
we're
ask
10
one
minutes.
more question?
Okay.
Just in terms of setting it up at $10,000 per week, was it?
Per week.
Um,
Yeah.
are you having to turn off your calls frequently, or does it just naturally get to a quantity that you can handle monthly?
I've had it both ways. There's been a couple weeks where I've shut it off because I've gotten inundated, but more often than not, I'm aware of how many calls I'm getting and I know it's not getting anywhere near 10,000. Like Colby said, I've never even had a weekly bill at 2,000. I'm paying about 1,100 to 1,500. So,
That's
um,
just what Google produced. Okay, great.
yeah. And that number, by the way, is per month. That's not even per week. But the budget number is based on a weekly budget. And all it's about is telling the algorithm how serious you are. I know we've run long, Colby. I apologize. Diego
That's
has one
okay.
more question, though. Do you want me to answer it or tell him to kick rocks?
Is it quick?
I can kick rocks.
Let's
It's
take
okay. I have a
Diego
meeting
and
with him
wrap
next week
after
either way
that.
too. It's completely okay. I
Yeah.
can
No, go
we can
for it,
talk
man.
about it. Yeah.
I'm happy to help.
Oh, can I? I'm okay. I think like mine can be answered honestly in an email, so I don't want to waste
Okay.
anybody else's time.
I mean,
If it helps,
if it's helpful for the group and it's not a personal question, I think that that totally makes sense. We've still got a group that's sticking
Okay.
around, so
I was just really gonna ask really two simple questions. For
okay.
the LSA, is there like initial payment you have to make for it? Because I know for a lot of paid for lead systems, you have to put up a certain amount of money first to do that as an entry point. And the other one is that when you do refer, for the listings, I know you said 50% and all that. For the signs, if it's a house, I know you said for terrain, you would just use their signs, that's okay. But for yours, let's say you're 4 hours away, and would you have somebody make a sign and pick it up and put it up there at yours, or would you drive yourself and put your own sign over there, or use the other person's sign?
Good, great questions. So the first question answer is no, there's no setup fees. You'll just start getting billed once the lead flow happens. The second answer is depends on the house. Like if I'm handing it off to you and keeping half of the commission, I don't mind that you're putting your sign up. But if it's a multi-million dollar property that I want my own sign there, then yeah, I wouldn't be shy about ordering something and getting somebody to hang it and doing all that remotely. It's incredible what you can do now from your laptop, right? So I'm open to either scenario. The vast majority of them have been smaller price points, at which point I don't mind if you use your sign.
Right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you, Colby. This has been great. I hope it was valuable for everybody.
Yes,
Thank you,
super
Ed.
valuable. Thank you everyone
Yeah.
for coming on. And I dropped some links in the chat. We're going to post this recording on YouTube so you can subscribe and then you'll see that when this goes live, you can give it a rewatch. And Ed's an accessible guy. Reach out to him if you have questions. If you need to be introduced, reach out to me and I'll make sure that you're connected. We're doing these every Thursday. We hope you come back and join us. And this is a little personal plug for agents that are interested in being a part of a holistic, like well-being community. One of the One EXP resource groups, Healthy Mind Collective, is hosting a call in 50 minutes. We've got Ricky Mendez coming on to talk about mindset fitness. So if you want to join, go to my Instagram. The link will be there. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next week. Thanks,
Thanks,
Thank
Ed.
you.
everybody.
You're
Thank you
awesome.
so
Bye,
much.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
great
guys.
Thank
day.
you.